Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa will deliver the keynote address at today's construction summit in Boksburg. SABC News reporter Samkele Maseko is on that story. Samkele, good morning to you.
Indeed, and President Ramaphosa will deliver the keynote address at the construction conference today, hosted by the CIBD. I'm going to bring in Mr. Bongani Dladla, who's the CEO of the CIDP. Mr. Bongani, the Construction Industry Development Board. Just the essence of this particular conference, what is it meant to inspire and to achieve, noting that the Minister of Finance delivered the medium-term budget speech yesterday and spoke about the construction sector, infrastructure development being the anchor of the revival of the South African economy.
It is quite important, and those developments are very important for the country because, as you've said, infrastructure is really the backbone for our economy. Beyond just providing the roads, it provides employment, many pieces of opportunities, and also connects our country to the rest of the market. So those investments in infrastructure are quite welcome. And this conference is trying to deal to saying when that money is there, how do we deliver those projects efficiently? How do we ensure there is accountability in the construction industry? And how do we ensure that we can be innovative around that? And we are really building also from the first summit that we hosted last year that dealt with violence and extortions in construction sites that have since significantly reduced. Now we are saying for each and every cent that we have, how do we deliver the best value for the state and all its citizens?
How do you make sure that that isn't upheld, particularly in a sector where you've got a number of projects that are left are not completed by contractors, where, for instance, if you take the Royval, the construction of the water recirculation plant that has been left derelict and not completed, how do you ensure that such situations don't occur again and which can cause a humanitarian crisis?
We need to have proper reporting mechanisms, and that's what we are bringing to the stakeholders here, to saying how do we account who is a good client who can be able to implement infrastructure, who is a good contractor who can implement infrastructure, who is a good consultant who can implement infrastructure. So we need to standardize on reporting on that, and we need to hold players accountable. And we need a clear record so that if you have not you failed as a service provider or as a client, you ought not be giving another opportunity to do that. And we are trying to co-create those solutions, those regulations, because at the end of the day, we are a regulator. We can regulate these things, but we need to bring all our stakeholders along and co-create some of these regulations that we are putting into place.
When you look at some of the deficiencies municipalities have, particularly when it comes to infrastructure development and rolling out these particular projects, we've seen instances where National Treasury has said they may take away grants from municipalities and give the implementing agent to DBSA or to MISA. Where does the CIDP fit in those particular processes where municipalities are defunct and can no longer perform their fiducial duties of providing infrastructure to their communities?
On the regulatory side, we standardize on procurement prescripts for infrastructure to ensure that when you go to Wanongoma or when you go to Toyando, the rules are the same and contractors can respond to that appropriately. But there's another aspect that we need to invoke in our act to designate which clients are capable of doing infrastructure, because when a project or funding is sent back to National Treasury, that really does a lot of harm to the economy and to the business of construction. So what we are trying to do here is to ensure that we can, similar to how the AG would designate clients as delinquents, we will want to do the same in terms of delivery of infrastructure, because there are a few critical areas for us to designate a client to be sufficient. One, do they pay on time? Do they have plans? Do they award projects on time? Do they have the capacity to deliver some of these complex infrastructures? So those are the kinds of things that we need to formalize in this platform in order for us to roll out across the country as gazetted regulations.
We're seriously out of time. Last question, the program for today, as you are the host of this particular construction conference, what will be the main theme of the program throughout the course of the day, and when will President Ramaphosa be essentially opening this conference?
President Ramaphosa should be here around 10 o'clock to open the conference and give us a direction as to how do we turn this country into a construction site. And as we are doing so, we need to do it efficiently and effectively. Hence, we are looking at industry performance, sustainability, skills and transformation, and compliance, because we have many stakeholders from the Auditor General's team to NPA, to police, to large infrastructure clients. So all of those guys are here to work with the players in the industry, all the industry leaders that will be here, and our ordinary contractors to come up with those solutions. So we are quite excited to welcome the President and all the ministers to show the importance of turning South Africa into a construction site.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bongani Dladla, who is the CEO of the CIDP, the Construction Industry Development Board, which looks into turning South Africa into a construction site to further fuse what the Minister of Finance was speaking about in his medium-term budget speech yesterday, particularly around using construction and infrastructure development as the anchor of reviving the South African economy.
All right. Thank you very much, Samkele Maseko. Update from the Construction Summit. The President expected to give the opening address there.